Welcome to Live Courageously podcast show number 9 of 2023. This is my 25th podcast show since I started it a year ago. And I just want to start by thanking everyone who's watching the podcast or have watched it, any of my previous shows. I truly appreciate it and appreciate your comments and feedback on the shows. Live Courageously has been my conscious theme of my life for the last 3 years since the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, and has been an unconscious theme for most of my life. If you haven't seen the previous 24 podcasts with some of my amazing friends sharing their powerful stories of overcoming all odds and going on to live powerful lives, you can watch them on my John Duffy Live Courageously YouTube channel. And I have another 50 plus friends planned to be guests on future shows. So keep coming back every week, Sunday at 2 p.m. So why live courageously? Because fear is just a reaction, but courage is a choice. And I suggest you consciously choose courage and faith over fear every time you experience fear to get through life and to deal with whatever life may throw at you in the future. And it will throw stuff we don't like or want at us. So choose courage. Today, my guest is my friend Jeff Daly, the commander of the American Legion Post 43 in Hollywood, that I'm a member as a son of the Legion. And Jeff grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, before joining the Marine Corps and serving with the magnificent bastards of the 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines. After the Marines, Jeff returned to Michigan to go to Kalamazoo College, a small private liberal arts school where he studied economics and political science. He also did some theater, which inspired him to move to Chicago to study at the Second City Conservatory. When he moved to Los Angeles, Jeff didn't even know what the American Legion was, as I'm sure so many people don't. And in a short 5 years, he's now the commander of Hollywood Post 43. He's the first vice commander of the 24th District of the American Legion, the state membership director, and he's a co-host for the national organization's podcast called Tango Alpha Lima. Outside of the veteran space, Jeff serves the acting community as a committee member of both the communication committees and the military affairs committee for SAG-AFTRA in the Los Angeles local. So I think to welcome Jeff, I'm going to just play something real, a minute of something and say, hey, Alexa, continue. And Alexa, pause. I just have to do that to welcome you to the show. Welcome, my good friend Jeff Daly. Thank you for joining me today, Jeff.
Thanks for having me. You triggered my ALEXA when you were talking to yours. It's amazing. I didn't know you've already done 25 shows.
Yeah, I know. It blows my mind too. I started. The idea started when I was up in Canada making this movie in Calgary, and as I was finishing up the movie, I just had this. I don't know. I woke up in the morning, like 2 a.m, and I just had this idea on my mind that I know so many amazing people like yourself, and I would say one of the things that I've been richest in life is the amount of amazing people and courageous people that I've kind of come across in all the different areas of my life. And I said, I was doing my own podcast, just talking for 2 years, Facebook Lives. And I said, I'm kind of tired of talking all the time. And I want to really have other people talk and share their stories, because I think that would be much better than listening to me all the time, because I bore myself, But so anyway, I started the show, and, I've done 25 and I got 50 more. And, it's just, and they keep coming at me. I keep meeting more amazing people almost every day. And it's just like, wow, so that's the gift. I've been given a gift, I think.
Well, I was going to say you need 25 more so you can get 100 episodes. You got 25 in the can. You have 50 lined up. You need 25 more.
And what do I get if I get 100? Just curious. Is there like a prize or something?
I'll have to do it silently, but I'll give you a loud applause.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go for that. That sounds like it's a goal that well worth going for. Hey, two of the things I like to ask my guests when they come on, especially there's only been one person so far that I did not know in person. But my first question is, how did we meet? If you remember, and where did we meet? And then I'll tell you the second question after you answer the first one, if you answer the first one.
Well, the first one's clearly we met at the American Legion Hollywood Post 43.
Correct.
I don't remember the exact circumstance because it's a place where if you're there, you see people sometimes several times before you meet them, and all of that several times in the actual meeting kind of blends together into one big event in the memory, at least in the memory of a bad memory like mine. So,
well, we definitely, and I agree. I don't remember the exact moment, but I remember meeting you multiple times in different incidents at the post. So we finally got to know each other a little bit better as well at different events. So a second thing I like to ask is, since the show is Live Courageously, and you have been courageous in many things of your life, which we're going to get into, obviously joining the Marine Corps, taking a risk, coming to LA, joining the American Legion, what you do in the American Legion, your own health issues, and just a lot of ways you've lived courageously. So what does Live Courageously mean to you in your life, Jeff?
Well, to me, I think to live, as in thrive, instead of just being an oxygen, regeneration system, to live, you have to do things. And to do things, a lot of times you have to put yourself out there. And if you have to put yourself out there, it's because I think you said it in your intro that courage isn't the absence of fear. Like, it's
Right.
Courage is actually, you need to have some fear to have courage. Otherwise, you're just you're reckless if you don't actually possess any fear or caution or anything like that. So I do approach a lot of things, and I know we have a limited time on this earth, which I've learned from a few events in my life that I'm on strike, whatever, and I think you have to live that way. And living courageously is also living fully. I think they're synonymous with each other.
Well, thanks for that. I think that I agree. I'm going to put up a quick picture because, we're going to start with your journey, and your journey started in a place called Michigan, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Yeah.
And my first question is, where is that? Only kidding. Only kidding. This is a picture that this is a Michigan fanatic. So I just had to mess with you there. But,
Hashtag go blue.
Go blue. There you go. So you grew up in Michigan, and tell us a little bit about that. And then how did you go from that to your journey to join the Marine Corps? Why, when, and how did that all start?
We're going to make me reveal a little bit of the nerd inside of me, but
not that anybody has ever noticed that.
Well, Kalamazoo is a lovely town. The metro area is about 250,000. It's halfway, 2.5 hours in each direction between Detroit and Chicago. And I loved growing up there. I mean, it was a real great place. It's not too big. It's not too small. I mean, it's not Mayberry, but it's not LA.
Right.
So I can typically, the more the years go on, it keeps growing, but I can typically go someplace that was one of my haunts, and I'll just see somebody that I know. That's getting less and less frequent, but it still happens. And it's culturally really rich in that, the phenomenon of being halfway between Detroit and Chicago is that big bands and the Broadway traveling shows, when they go from Detroit to Chicago, there are people that have money in Kalamazoo that don't want to go to Detroit and Chicago. So they subsidize these shows to guarantee that they're going to get income. And I mean, I think I saw, like Les Mis and stuff for like $25 or like the actual Broadway traveling show. And you don't have that everywhere.
Well, and I'm not going to pivot into this, but was that part of what led you to go into when you went back to school into Second City? Was it that being introduced to all that culture? And then we'll come back to the Marine Corps thing.
Well, I think because Kalamazoo is so cultural. Like my mom was president of the Arts Council. No, she was the the art museum. I was actually on the board of the Arts
Wow.
Council. And I think it just permeates.
I think we have
This,
a little bit of up. Are you coming back? I hope. Just got a little freeze on Jeff. Well, let me just step back a second. I'm going to do a little bit of a put some comments up while we hopefully find Jeff back. Just that's from Tom Anderson, Jordan Michael Thomas, also part of Tony Baldy is with says he's from Kalamazoo and knows K College with top-notch school from the Baldy School of Acting. So I think Jeff hopefully is going to make a comeback. Oh, this is the second show in a row that I've had a tech problem. So if you get a shot, Jeff, go out, come back, and hopefully I can get you back in here. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit. Jeff just disappeared. I'm sure he's going to be back in a minute. So like Jeff had mentioned, we met at the American Legion Post 43, which I am a member. I joined it as and this is a picture, Sons of the American Legion. So the American Legion has obviously military veterans who are members of the American Legion. It has auxiliary members, women whose parents were in the military, and then Sons of the Legion who were also in the.
And then I ended up on your show. There I go.
Yeah, right.
So we were talking about Kalamazoo and the cultural and arts thing, and I don't know if I did theater in high school.
Yeah, you were talking about, your with the museums and your stuff you were doing with that. And so kind of my question is two out of that is one, because you were surrounded by arts and clearly your mother was involved in the arts, you were involved in the arts, then how come that wasn't your immediate path? Why the Marine Corps? What led you from that first step to the Marine Corps, and take it any way you want to take it to explain your journey?
Well, I want to say one of the things that happened in my life was I did do theater up until literally the day before I went to the Marine Corps. It was a summer program. It's called Civic Summer Theater. And I was in a show. I don't remember what it is right. Oh, it was Oklahoma actually. And I wasn't supposed to go to the Marines for another month, but they called me and said, nope, you're going on this day. And I'm like, wait, we have one more performance. And they did not care.
Really?
Yep, I missed my last.
That's so wrong of them.
Performance. Yeah, so I started out with a little chip on my shoulder. So the idea, and people ask me that all the time. This is the nerdy part. I have this mission in life to be somewhat of a Renaissance man. I want to do arts. I want to do business. I want to be intellectual. I want to write a book. I wanted to be a warrior. When the Renaissance era, you also had to be a warrior. You can't wait to be a warrior until you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. I mean, you gotta get that done. So I was just very focused on that. And I'm like, I gotta get that done. College can wait for me. And it did wait. And so I went ahead and pursued the warrior part of being a Renaissance man.
Wow, that's fascinating. And then where did you end up training in the Marine Corps? Well, where did you go? Where did they your base? And then how long did you stay before you went back to your journey to the other parts of the Renaissance man?
Oh, well, in my brain, I went there so quickly. Because you get off the bus, and you've heard probably Marines talk about the yellow footprints. And
well, I got a chance I'll tell you a little bit. I filmed them for the Marine Corps, so I was there watching the people get off the bus and go through that and film it. Mind-boggling. But yes,
it's crazy because you got this guy as a sergeant, which I now know means he's still just a punk in his 20s, and he's telling you to get off his bus and onto his base and to step on his yellow footprints. I'm like, bro, you don't own any of this. in my head, I'm like, what are you talking about? But then he said, and they're there because you're too stupid to know how to stand properly. So they have to, that's why the footprints are there. And in my head, I actually think I muttered it out loud. I said, I think I've made a huge mistake. I think you can physically torture me. You can like do the mental anguish or whatever, but questioning this mind was boggling to me by a guy who claims he owns a military base. So, so that was it. So I knew
You were
then.
ready for a major debate with him at that point.
Oh God, if I wasn't scared of dying, I probably would have. So I knew then I was going to be 4 and done. That that decision was made up. So I did the boot camp. It's interesting. In boot camp, they pulled me out of boot camp and tried to recruit me into intelligence. I was going to go to Monterey and do at the D Lab and learn. I think it was Russian they had selected for me.
Wow.
Which I also bet that I wasn't going to be put in country because I think I would stick out in Russia. So I think it was pretty safe. It was just getting signals. So I went home on leave, came back. Then I was signing papers and something made me stop on something I was signing. And it was a 6-year. It was like they were extending me 2 years. And I go, whoa, what is this? And I remember I've already made up my mind. I'm 4 and done. So I said, what is this? And she goes, well, nobody told you? The school is like 1.5 years. They want to get their time back. And I said, no, nobody told me that. And she said, so you don't want to go? And I go, oh, no, we don't want to do that. So she just ripped it and goes, here's your original orders. And so, and that was in San Diego. So I went to boot camp in San Diego, Hollywood.
Were you not at Pendleton?
Well, it's MCRD San Diego. You do your field work and your rifle range and all of that. The drill bit where you saw the footprints is right by the airport in San Diego.
Correct. That's where we filmed. Correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the drill stuff happens in San Diego. The field work and the basic military that happens at Pendleton.
At Pendleton.
So I finished that and they put me back in admin school. I go to school and I was like, God, if I just all I have to do is finish first in my class. It's like that's how I do goals. That's all. I'll just finish first, and then I'll be in DC and dress blues all day, walking around. Oh no. They sent me across the street to 2nd Battalion, 4th Marines, Magnificent Bastards. And so I was admin in an infantry unit, which in the Marine Corps means you do both.
Right.
So that's what I did. And then I served and I was on ships. The longest ship I was on is the USS. I don't give a lot of information away about my age, so I'm trying to see if I can make sure I can say it. So it was the Iwo Jima. Nope, the Guam. I was on the Guam for the longest, and I got to watch it get sunk on YouTube, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah, they turned it into a reef, an artificial reef off the East Coast.
Huh.
Yep.
What, just a couple of years ago?
Sure, we'll say that. No.
All right. Go ahead. Hey, I'm easy, man. You can mess with me. I'm gonna fall for it. So no problem, man.
So yeah, I did my time, got out, and then went to school.
All right, and so you did your time. What would you say the experiences you took away from the Marine Corps, stuff that kind of serves you for life, or things that kind of added to who you were or who you wanted to become as this Renaissance man? What were some of the best parts of it for you?
The best parts.
Yeah, I know. I don't. We don't have enough time for the other parts. We just gotta focus.
I would say, because I'm Gulf era, so I'm not post 9/11.
Right.
I know my skin gives me away. It doesn't give me away, but so we weren't constantly at war. So I got some great leave like locations overseas. Palma de Mallorca is one. I've been to Israel, which was part leave and part duty. That was great. And and France, and I mean, I that whole seeing the world thing, I got a little taste of that.
Right. So you got, that was one thing that you experienced by being part of it.
Right. And then, not that we're focusing on the negative, but we were talking about earlier the events in my life that make me think, you only have so long, and you only have so many life endangering events that you're going to survive. Because I was in a helicopter crash in the Marine Corps, uh, walked away from that with no known at the time injuries, and now my back and stuff. I'm like, oh, I know where that came from.
Right.
But that gives you a new appreciation for life, and I would say in a good and a bad way. I would say the goals and things I want to do, I need to get them done, because you don't know what's going to happen to you.
Right.
And I would tell that to anybody, even if nothing's ever happened to you, you don't know what's going to happen to you.
That's right.
And the experiences you want to have in this life, don't just put them off indefinitely. If you don't have the money for it, you don't have the time for it, plan for both of those things, and say in the next 2 years, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, because you don't know. We all said that first week. It says Tom Anderson. I don't think the Air Force people say that. Let's just when they're going through orientation, or is that what they call boot camp? When they're going through orientation, they get upset if the fish isn't one day fresh. I mean, it's like, that tastes like it was flown in. Get that away from me.
Well,
So,
I guess just a quick aside. I mean, that's one of the things for me as a civilian and not a veteran, but, doing stuff around veterans and working support veterans, that thing you just did is just, it's always hilarious. When I see a group of y'all just get together and just kind of snap on each other about each different branch, it's so much fun, because it's that ongoing, camaraderie, but competition, and it's always fun to watch that happen.
It's like brothers picking on each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I actually, I don't even remember what I was talking about. I think
you were saying
after the helicopter crash,
always, you never know when something's going to happen.
You never know when something's going to happen to you, because I fell out of the freaking sky. That could have gone south in so many ways. You were Army infantry, but you weren't infantry in boot camp, Tom.
Hey, so I'm gonna have to do a separate show with you too, I think.
So yeah, I firmly believe you have to do those things, because you never know when you're going to fall out of the sky and walk away from it. Because 6 months later, the same thing happened. And what happened is the hooks that they carry, like equipment and trucks and whatever, somebody didn't take the hook off. So it gusted and broke the propellers. Wow. And it happened again on another ship, and they didn't get to land before it happened. So they crash landed in water, and the doors are hydraulic, so they couldn't get out. So everybody died on that one. And so that kind of traumatized me twice, hearing about that. And yeah, that sucked. So
yeah, I'm not going to continue with Tom, because I'm going to show it, but like this could go on and on and on. So, but serious. So you did 4 and done. You got out. You went back to school, and then you went to Chicago, Second City, and you went on to that journey. So tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, finished it at Kalamazoo. Then I was actually dating a girl there, and so I went to Chicago, and I was gonna go to. Oh gosh, if my mom's listening, she's gonna be mad all over again, because I was going to go to law school, and my friend said, you should try out for Second City's conservatory, and I took the they have an intro class for people who have no interest, really. They just kind of think it would be fun. So I did that, and I was like, this is kind of fun. And I was terrified. This is another one. I was terrified of not having a script and having to develop content on the fly, and also trusting other people to support that or be supported by whatever I contributed. All of that terrified me. I can be a control freak. So, but now that you know me, I love winging it now.
But it's funny you say that, because when I started acting myself, first I was terrified, and then you get into acting, and you do the scripted stuff, and it's a lot easier, right? And then when I started doing improv, it was the same thing. I was shaken. I was I mean, total fear, total fear. And you finally, if you keep at it and you do it like you did, you get out of it, and then you get that skill set, and you get that ability to wing it and feel comfortable in any situation. So it's a great experience to go through. I know it was for me. But you're definitely not somebody afraid in any environment nowadays that I can tell.
Well, I have to wing it? No.
No.
I would say people in corporate jobs, if they want to live courageously, I honestly believe that one of the not utilized skill sets out there that you can get, and it is a skill, it's not necessarily 100% pure talent. You can learn to improvise. There are rules to the game.
Right.
And sometimes the talent comes in when you're trying to actually be funny or something like that. But that's not, the game can make things witty.
Sure.
I firmly believe that. And at Second City, I wrote content for, they have teams that go and do corporate events and corporate gigs, and that stuff is great. And I push anybody into it, especially actors, but even people outside of acting. I think it's amazing.
Well, it's the same thing with people who are afraid of public speaking, and it's just another level. If you put yourself into it, that thing that you're afraid of, I know for myself, once you put yourself into it and you continue to do it, you overcome the fear, and you get the skill sets, and it gives you other things that you can use in all aspects of your life. So, it is a way to grow and take chances. And at the end of the day, no one's shooting at you if you're doing improv. So most of the time, right? So what's the worst that could happen? I mean, you bomb, you'll survive. You'll get out of it. You'll be fine,
yes.
Right? So,
I mean, tomatoes being tossed out, it's about the worst. So
yeah, that's about the worst, and that's rare. It probably happens more at the American Legion. But speaking of which, so then you go from there, you go Second City, and you end up going to California. Why? And then take us on the journey, how you found out about the American Legion, joining it, and then you go on this journey to not only be a member, but to be a leader in the American Legion, and then you move up the ranks in all those capacities. So take us on that phase of your life.
All right. So like I said, my now ex-girlfriend, when she graduated, we got in the U-Haul and drove down to I-10 East until we hit California. Then we got on the 10, as they call it here. And
it's like my neighborhood, the Bronx.
The Bronx. But it's weird here in Southern California. They call all the freeways the.
Yeah.
It's just Southern California. They don't do that up north. It's just here. It's weird.
Really?
Yep. Very strange. You Californians, Southern Californians are very, very odd. Anyway, so we get here. And even so, through college and then the beginning of my time in Los Angeles, I didn't really even identify with being a veteran.
Okay.
I never told anybody like stuff like that. And I was, contrary to what I told my girlfriend at the time, I'm like, yeah, let's go to LA. I'll get on a show in like 6 months. We'll be living in Beverly Hills. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I'm still waiting for that to happen, by the way. Is anybody out there? So I found out about this. It was called VFT then. It's
okay.
VME
Was that
now.
the first thing you heard of VFT?
I still had never heard of the American Legion.
Okay.
So VFT was Veterans in Film and Television. It's now Veterans in Media and Entertainment. So I went to a comedy writing workshop that my friends were teaching. And it happened to be in the cabaret room of Hollywood Post 43. And I did the workshop and I started, oh, look at that. It's so pretty.
Isn't it? Amazing building.
I love it. So I took the workshop and I walked around and I asked somebody, what the hell is this place? I've driven by it. I thought it was a post office with a cannon, which I thought was weird. There's a cannon out front. And no, then they started saying it's the American Legion, it's a veteran service organization. I go, oh, okay, that's cool. Then I went to
You thought
another.
that's what they meant when they said go postal, right? They had a cannon.
Yeah, they had a cannon there. What are you doing? That's how they scared the Pony Express into taking off really fast.
That's right.
So I went to another event with VFT, and I met a young lady, Michelle, and she was wearing a 43 cap. And I said, "Oh, I think I was at like the building that's your guys and she obviously knows a veteran because I was at this other veteran event, and I told her I'd been there, and I said it's pretty cool. And then she goes, "Well, you're obviously joining then." And I don't take orders from a lot of people, but a young lady I will take orders from. So I joined. So I joined up and got in there, and then as you said, so I kind of came in. I came in hot.
Right.
I ran for something right away, and I lost by a couple of votes, and I was like, I'm not really used to losing. So I had to that gave me something. That gave me a little bit of character or whatever. And
Interesting.
I came back. But what I told them, because I actually felt, I don't know if it's true, but I felt targeted into defeat. I felt like this group of people that had power and position knew who they wanted.
And they didn't want you.
And nope, they didn't. As they told me then, they go, "We didn't know you."
Right.
Which is true.
Sure.
So, but I told them, but now all you've done now is give me a year to campaign. I'm campaigning for an entire year, and made sure that then I skipped I became second vice commander in my second year in the Legion.
And who was the commander at that point?
When I was which one?
Second vice commander?
Second vice commander was Mike Helmstead.
Mike Helmstead, right. Okay, yeah.
And then I joined Fernando Rivera. He swore me in.
Right.
So he inducted me. So then I stayed on there. I did media and communications. I started doing a lot of media and communications work, which with the live streaming of the meetings and stuff like that. And then I started doing that with the state. So I got a little boost from being affiliated with things outside of the Post, and I just kept doing that. And now I'm in my initial term. I think I'm going to run for a second. We'll see if somebody runs
How long
again.
is the term?
1 year.
1 year. Okay.
We're allowed to run twice consecutively.
So I always look at how like people connect, and like I look for myself. And, like I mentioned earlier, I ended up doing some training videos for the U.S. Marine Corps. I went to Pendleton and MRSD. What's the
MCRD?
Yes, there we go. And then also out to Quantico and did the officer training program summer and winter, and I covered all that. And at that point, I was a line producer and a film producer, and that I met what I considered the best young men and women I had ever met in my life in such a grouping, and it just kind of inspired me on so many levels. And so when I came back, I said, well, what can I do to help veterans, given my skills in Hollywood and the stuff I had? And that got me to start looking for opportunities to give back and serve. And then I ran across VFT with Mike Dowling when he found it. I ran into him because I was doing another group with somebody else called Vets on Set, hiring veterans onto film projects. So we met, then Michael, and then I started working with that and got introduced to the Legion. And I was like, okay, I didn't know about it either. I had no idea what that was. And then they tell me about it, and they're like, well, you can join because your dad was in the military, in the Army. So I was really okay. Well, and then I joined, and that started me, hanging in the Legion, doing other stuff. And then, of course, we all ended up meeting Michael and meeting you and Fernando and all the bunch of people. So it's kind of funny how all that came together, because I didn't have any plan to be doing any of this. It wasn't like, okay, and then I'm going to go and then I'm going to work for, no, it wasn't on my goal setting plan.
Was it on your goal setting plan to be the regular super donor of blood? This guy, let me tell them, this guy, he gives blood every time we have a blood drive. Every freaking time. And I got him on camera, so I had to embarrass him a little bit. But
well, it's funny because with the exception of one other time when I was at the Magic Castle with a friend, and he's like, they're giving blood downstairs. Come with me. I'm like, oh, okay. So I gave blood. That was the only other time I gave blood. And then at the American Legion. And then when during COVID that was there, and I was like, yeah, let me go. And then it was like, so why not do that every time? It just seemed like, it's only a couple hours. It's no big deal. So, and you get to go over there and hang for a bit. So it was fun.
And I mean, you're just saving lives. I mean,
Yeah, why, but it's just such a great thing to do that takes so little of our effort to do it, right? It's just,
Yep.
What does it take to do that little? I mean, you can do a lot more, but you could at least do that. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so I just kind of, and it's always fun because I run into people and we have a good time. So
We do have a good time.
Yeah,
we actually have a good time bleeding. Let's think about that. That's weird.
I know it's weird, man. I'm not afraid of needles, apparently. So
I actually am. So
I know you told me you were like they have a hard time getting your blood.
They do have little baby veins.
And
they move. So when the needle comes, my vein goes, not today.
Now, the last time I was there, did they get it? Did you get it?
They got it, but it was because they must have got a small one because the flow was too slow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, so now you become a commander, and my next stuff is just in a short, if you can, what is the American Legion? Who joins it? What is Post 43? A little bit of its history, because that picture I put up there. This building has been around since 1929, maybe.
I think it's finished in 28. Yeah,
28. Okay. So incredible, great history. But tell us in a little short version what the Legion is.
Have you met me?
Who joins it? Huh?
Have you met me? Short.
It is a podcast that it's not a marathon. I'm going to need to do a marathon podcast. That'll be the next one. We'll rate. You know what? We'll do it. We'll do it while we're giving blood.
There you go. I'll be there a long time. So I'd say the motto of the American Legion right now is Veterans Strengthening America.
Okay.
I don't know why I felt like I had to say that in a radio voice, but Veterans Strengthening America. And we are a veteran service organization, and the Legion family, I'm going to include the Legion family in all this. Not only do we serve veterans, but we serve community, state, and nation. We have programs ranging from things with children and youth to veteran rehabilitation. We still work, one of our pillars is still national defense. So we do a lot of lobbying in Congress. If somebody is feeling and like you said, who can join? Veterans can join, obviously, the Legion side. On the Sun side, it's male descendants. So you can only go down the family tree and to sons and grandfathers. On the auxiliary side, you're really playing around over there. I like it.
I'm trying to get you up there by yourself, man. It's not working, but
so on the auxiliary side, the ladies of the auxiliary, because men are allowed now in a certain circumstance I'll get to, but they can go, as my friend does, they can do the holy way in. So they can go up the family chain. So their mothers and grandmothers, they can go down and be a grandmother or mother. They can also do sisters, and that might be it. Maybe the sisters. But now, just a couple of years ago, we're congressionally chartered, so all of these changes take an actual act of Congress. They allowed male spouses of a veteran. So male spouses of a veteran can now join the auxiliary. So that's a little about the Legion. 43 is rooted in Hollywood, where that's why we get legends like John Duffy to come hang out with us, because we are rooted in Hollywood since the old days. We were open during Prohibition. Because I think anybody who violated that is long past their statute of limitations. And we're still in Hollywood. We have past Commander Jarek Wilhelmsen runs. I'm going to say it wrong. I think it's member-made media now, and video and film. Look at the deco bar there. That's beautiful.
The bar. Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you want to drink there?
I mean, right? And it's, I found my second family, and I mean that in every sense of the word. there are people that I'd want to punch in the throat, but if somebody else were to get aggressive with them, I would have their back in a second. But they do. There's people there. They push my buttons every day. But there's just like family does, though, right?
Well, you're, and we'll talk about a little bit about that because I you post a lot, and one of the things that I highly respect is, as a leader, as a commander, as you are, as a leader, you have a tough job. Some people say it's easy. There's a meme about producers, and I think it's true for you as a commander. They say being a producer is easy. It's like riding a bike, except the bike's on fire. You don't know how to ride the bike, and you're in hell. Well, sometimes that's probably what you must feel like as a commander, right? Is just because, you got a group of people and they're all different, and they all, some older, some younger, all different experiences, different points of view about everything. And some are easy to get along with, and some are a pain in the ass, right? So you got to deal with all of them. But your job, because it is your family and it is a family, your job is to keep that family together, to serve themselves and to serve others. And that's not an easy job. Anybody thinks it's an easy job. But that's what you do. And it's a battle. It's a daily battle to keep that going. So you chose it, and you're going to do it again. So you're clearly certifiably insane that way.
Oh, duh.
But
like you said, if you have 3 members,
what's that?
If you have 3 members, there's going to be 4 opinions always.
Right.
Like, and they're absolutely convinced that their opinion or 2 are absolutely correct. And you're a moron if you don't agree. That's and I think being from a place that's saturated with veterans, they've been put in positions where they make quick decisions, and it's better to be decisive, because indecisiveness can be worse than a bad decision. Indecisiveness can be worse than a poor decision. So I think that carries through in life for a lot of people. So they go, what we need to do? This is what you have to do. I get that. I walk in that place, within 17 seconds, somebody's telling me what we need to do.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if I can arrange. Let me quick. I have it. I don't know if
you're a technical wizard out there, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know if you've seen this, but I'm going to try and pull this thing up and see if I can get really lucky. And but this kind of echoes your point. So just give me 1 second and see if I'm going to be real lucky here.
He's like a whole crew of 1.
I know, right? I mean, where's my support team? This is just wrong. All right, here, take a look at this real quick. And I don't know if you saw this. This was.
Oh, that was from the last competition.
Yes.
You see, it's there. It's because of haters like you is the reason we're rampaging.
So, that scene, are we back?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that scene I acted in, and it just typifies that. It was the fall of Post 43, and the zombies are attacking. I was playing a Coast Guard guy. The other 2 guys were 2 other branches, right? And we got these like toy planes and toy car, everything, and in front of us, and we're doing exactly what you said. We're arguing, going, no, we'll come over and we'll bomb them here, and it's like, no. So the 3 of us are arguing instantly. We know everything. We're right about everything, and in the meantime, while we're wasting our time doing that, the zombies attack us and kill us. So. So I think it's kind of like a perfect analogy of 4 people with 3 people with 4 opinions.
And you pulled that up. I did not tip him off that I was going to say that.
No, you didn't. No. But yeah, it was so fun to do it with the people there. But anyway, to go back to your point, I mean, so that's what you're in as a leader, and you choose to do it, and you do it well, and it's not an easy job. And I think, a lot of times some people appreciate it. Some people are grateful for it. Unfortunately, not everybody, but that's life.
I do it for the zeros that come.
Yeah, you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, zeros on both sides of the decimal point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I hear you. So, what is your challenge? I mean, what is your purpose and mission, Jeff, doing that, being the commander? It's about, because nowadays I got to go to this thing recently with the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds, and one of the commanders who runs the team and flies the plane. One of the things he got up and talked about was how the importance to them of service, that it's all about service. It's not about selfies. It's not about all this stuff that, the bad side of Hollywood pushes, but it's about service to others. And, if we can do that, we have a better, happier, fuller life if we're able to serve. So you're obviously serving as a commander. What are the things that come out of this as a commander for you, and why you do it, and the benefits of it by being in service?
Well, I ask that question all the time, to be honest. And it always boils down to, and I said this at National Legion College, I said, it's about the people. And I just posted about something the other day. And no matter all the thankless nature of it, veterans made media. There he goes. He corrected me, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Carl Reisinger, ladies and gentlemen, the man who knows all. And so the video, it was last year when you did it, it was member made media. Now Carl's, it's veteran made, because it's not just, you don't have to be 43.
Right. I'll give him one more shout out.
He's saying veterans made, but is that what it is? Yep. So it's veterans made media competition.
Right, I'm giving another shout out to Carl.
Another shout out to Carl. So where were we? We were talking about it's the
service, and you say you answered that like you always ask that. And when you were at this convention, your response was,
it's about the people. And I rewrote this. I believe it was yesterday on Facebook, and it's going to be in the newsletter if you subscribe to Hollywood Post 43's newsletter. It really is. It's about serving the people. There are people who've been through a lot. There are people who need resources. They need our camaraderie. They thrive being a part of something bigger than themselves. So amongst all of the challenges, that stuff looms larger for me. And you said I'm gonna go out of order because you said you were gonna ask about my health thing.
Oh, sure, please. Yes.
We're coming up on a year. The 21st will be the year of what I call the event. So if those of you who don't know me, last year in March, 21st of March, I had a stroke. I was in the VA hospital in West LA, fine facility. And the thing that struck me about the American Legion in that moment, in those couple of weeks, I was there like almost 2 weeks, every single day, I maxed out my visitors, and most of them were from the American Legion. And I'm talking about people I don't talk to every day, up to the then state, if you're not a Legionnaire department commander, Autry James. All these people came to visit and support. They didn't have to, and that's part of that fuels my mission to give back to all of these people, because it's not about, and I get so upset when people tell me it's a business. We got to run things like a business. Like I run things like I do understand that, but to take the persona of an organization and boil it down to we're a business is false to me, because words mean things and nuance is very real. We are an American Legion post that possesses business interests to support the mission of the post. We are not a business. We're all that collection of words I just said. And and a lot of that is so important to me because of when I was in a place, I had never been in the hospital, never taken a prescription or illegal drug, never had anything wrong with me. So you want to talk about fear on top of fear on top of fear. I had that fear. The person who called me that realized I was having a stroke was from National American Legion office, calling me going, you need to go to the hospital right now.
Wow.
The person who ran down from Runyon Canyon to come fetch me and take me to the hospital was past Commander Jennifer Campbell from 43. Wow. So I'm here, and in the shape that I'm in, at least, because of the American Legion. And if anybody questions, the thing that will piss me off the most, if someone questions why I do what I do, if they think it's for some personal agenda or I'm trying to get something, I'm done with them, because it really is about the people. And it's been proven to me that they'll do the same for me.
Well, I think that, Jeff, that's just so powerful. People need to, sometimes people don't take enough time to get to know a person so that they really know them and know what they're about and what their heart is, So just because you may have a different experience and have a different point of view about a bunch of freaking things, it don't matter. But when you get to know somebody and you get to know their heart, then you get to know them. And I think what you're saying is who you are and why you do it and why you serve is pretty clear. And if people take the time, it's pretty obvious, but, sometimes maybe it takes a little time for people to get to know somebody. Take the time, get to know and trust what you're hearing, because it's true. I mean, I believe it.
I can help in this process by not knife handing when I'm making my point of view at people. Getting right up in there and an inch from their nose and going, have you lost your mind? Like that kind of thing. I can't do that anymore.
Probably not. But the other piece you were saying, like, I saw you during the 2 years when things were locked down. I mean, you were like inspiring people online, both all the way from Michigan to California to elsewhere, doing all these fitness challenges. And I participated in some of your fitness challenges while that was going on as well. So I saw your commitment to health, to fitness, and your promotion of it. So when you got that stroke, it was, just even seeing it was freaking scary. But what you said, all your team and all the Legion people came out and supported you. The other side of it, and this is another form of courage or strength or whatever word you want to give to it. I saw your little bit of battles every single day that you shared online to overcome being able to speak, to overcome being able to move. And it wasn't rapid progress, but it was progress. And you were committed to progress and you just kept putting in the work. So I saw that and it inspired me personally, but I know it must have inspired others if anybody paid attention to it. So that's a credit to your personality and who you are as a person. That kind of bravery, that kind of courage, that kind of keep moving forward, because you don't give up. You don't give up.
I mean, the first video I made, and the nurses, they all thought I was crazy. It's all I could do, because I couldn't hardly walk, and
right.
I wouldn't answer the phone because I couldn't speak anywhere near this. So my first video is just me lifting my leg up off the ground.
Wow.
Because that was exercise to me at the moment. And they put a poster up in front. It says, "You are the quarterback of your own healing team."
Wow.
And I said, taking that seriously, they don't know what they've done. Because now I had them huddle sometimes. I'm like, you guys got to bring it in. I need to know. I need to write up on every pill that you're giving me. I need to know why I haven't had an MRI. I was quarterback.
You were in control of your recovery.
Yep. And they had the poster there. They did it.
Yeah, they made a mistake, right? They're like, damn, why did we put that poster up? Guy believes that stuff.
I should go see if it's still up there.
That's amazing. But you're right. That's such a powerful, because it put you in charge of your recovery, your healing. And at the end of the day, we're all in charge of our lives, what we do or don't do, and what we're willing to do. So, I mean, much props to you, man, for making that journey, going on that fight for recovery and achieving it, man. Really, I think a model.
Well, thank you for being the presence that you are around the post, because I've never heard anybody say a negative thing about John Duffy. The New York accent probably scares them, so maybe they won't. But I think the presence and the vibe that you have is a very comforting thing to have there. And I appreciate every time you're there.
Well, thank you. And if no other, it's good to know that I'm there when you're trying to get blood too. So, that helps as well. Tell me about your podcast show. You ended up, you had your own, and then now you do a podcast show for the American Legion. Tell us about that, where people can watch it. How long have you done it? What do you enjoy about doing it, or who do you enjoy talking to? And I got a chance to meet one of the women when we went to a movie screening called Overcoming Hope a couple weeks
Trina.
ago.
Dr. Trina
Trina. Yes, and she was somebody you had on your podcast show who's a great person and an inspirational person. So tell us about the podcast show and what you do with that.
Well, I joined the podcast because I had my own at first, and I saw that you discovered it, and I was worried that you were going to play a clip from that one. It was just by myself. I think I recorded it with the Anchor app on my cell phone. It is not what you would call high fidelity.
Okay.
But I had a good time. And then the Legion, the American Legion National Organization, decided to do one, and they hired me. And there were 3 of us at the time. Mark Seavey, who's now the National Judge Advocate, so he can't do it. And then who I call now OG Ashley, because there was an original Ashley, and when she had to go on to do stuff at the VA, they brought in another Ashley Marie, last initial G. I joked that they made it so similar because they had a dumb Marine on there and they couldn't handle all that change. So I couldn't screw up as long as I said Ashley, we're good. And we now have interviews every episode. They drop every Tuesday. Everywhere you would go, Tango Alpha Lima, which stands for the American Legion, TAL, Tango Alpha Lima. And we're on Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever. I tend to send people to YouTube because we're very expressive, and sometimes I'll pick something up or whatever. And I prefer the experience. And if you do want to just listen, you don't have to be looking the whole time, but you can kind of tell when something's happening. You're like, whoa, let me look. So we love the mission of our mission is recruiting and retention of the next generation of American Legion leaders, because we've been accused as an organization of not communicating well to that demographic, and not in the way that the Legion is structured. They don't take positions on some things until they come up from the post and in the form of resolutions, which means we're the last people to talk about things sometimes. So now we have the flexibility and maneuverability to talk about things as they come up, or at least a week. We're on like a week to 2 week delay. So I can't talk about like a vote that's happening in the Senate tomorrow because it'll be done. And what if I predicted wrong? I can't handle being wrong.
We've noticed. So they can watch it on YouTube, obviously everywhere else, but YouTube, everywhere. If they want to watch the video of it, which every Tuesday. So that's one place to send them. The other thing is, who should join the American Legion, and especially post 43? Everybody who can, right? And
not everybody can. There are people that don't qualify.
Can.
But you know what? If you get somebody like me and you act like you're interested in it, I'll start going, well, did your grandfather serve? How about your grandmother? Your mother? Anybody? Is there anybody that's a veteran you think is cute? Because if you marry them, you're in. I'll set people up to get married if they really want to be in. I can get them in.
I believe it. One of the things, I'm going to throw up a couple of quick pictures as we're going to kind of come to the close, but there's a lot of things that happen at the Legion. Here's just another picture of you, Mr. Hollywood. And then, of course, this one, which is, on a bad hair day, on Funkin' Fish Friday. But, Jeff is so much fun at the Post. The Post is so much fun. It's such a great atmosphere. There's so many events to go to. And then the other thing is that, you got a movie theater there, one of the best movie theaters in Hollywood, 435 seats, something like that.
80. It's 80 something. Carl's going to probably jump in any second and tell me the exact number, but it's just under 500.
Okay.
So it's a great venue. It's still brand new. It was collecting dust during the lockdown, and we just finished it a few months before then. So that was unfortunate, but we got big things coming up. Our fellow Suns member, Bill Burr, is going to be doing a show next Saturday there.
Yeah, there's another event that I'm going to too that's about Vietnam veterans.
The
I believe.
Word Theater.
Word Theater, right? And that's on a Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, it's another week.
Another week, yeah. So I'm gonna probably attend that. But there's so much to do, both if you're a member, obviously, in any capacity. But then there's a lot of things that the general public can also attend and go to, and you can come as guests, etc. I mean, you guys built a drive-in theater during the lockdown because you couldn't open the theater. That was an amazing accomplishment. Just that, there was another way to bring people out and get people, out of their houses and watch movies. I watched one of the movies at the drive-in, which was great. So there's a lot of activity and more. There's music nights. There's all kinds of things going on, and it's a great environment if you're going to be in Hollywood. You mentioned the bar below. For the members, the drinks are like probably 1/10 of what they are in Hollywood, I think. Which I think like a drink now is probably $100 in Hollywood or something. But it's a great place. But more importantly, back to the thing, what are you most proud about, Jeff, with all the time that you put in, all the stuff you've seen, gone through? What are you most proud as a commander, as a member of the Legion? What makes you feel good about what you do and the service you do?
Well, I think a word that gets used too much today is resilience. But I firmly believe the resilience of our members and the collective family is amazing. And since COVID, we kind of got out of the habit of coming together for karaoke nights and comedy nights and whatever else we have planned. But they're coming back. They're coming back really strong, and they're getting engaged again. 482. There he is.
Correction.
The theater, ladies and gentlemen, is 482 people we can fit in there. Plus, sometimes we do folding chairs. So I hope that continues. I love to see the growth. I love the American Legion now tackling suicide with the Be the One campaign. I want to get Post 43 more actively involved in that. We didn't have a slogan for it, but when I first, there it is, Be the One. When I first joined the Legion, one of the things I did was I found a grant to bring a professor to teach the certification for mental health first aid. This is before they even thought of Be the One. I kind of think that they were just copying me and came up with a name, but it's important. We have a mental health crisis, and we talk about suicide part a lot, but there's a lot more than just that. There are people living with depression. My friend, North Carolina, Liz Hartman, and we talk a lot. And one of the things we came up with is if you have to dial 988, the crisis line, we've failed you multiple times before that. If you're getting to the point where you're so it's so overwhelming that you need to call that number. If there's somebody I know, I personally feel like I've failed them because I didn't recognize. You recognize things, people that are always on time being late, people that work out all the time not doing that, people who typically dress normal or looking like crap. If you don't notice these things, you're failing these people long before they dial 988. So I'm not saying we don't need 988. I'm saying I think we need to exist in an environment that requires far fewer people answering that phone number. And we need to be the people that interact with these people every single day need to understand what the kinds of things are indicative of a mental health crisis and intervene. So, yeah, that's my PSA.
Well, in closing, I want to thank you for being on the show, and thank you for what, the work that you're doing of service and the motto that you're having. I just think, we can all learn from it. I think everybody can always do a little bit more, give a little bit more, help a little bit more. There's always a little bit extra that we can do to be of service to others. And it just makes your life better if you do it. So it's a win-win. Everybody wins when someone does that. And the American Legion is a great organization that obviously does it and serves the military and veteran community and their families. And sons and daughters and all the other folks that are part of it. So if you don't know about it, check it out. If you do know about it, maybe do more, volunteer a little bit more, help out a little bit, instead of, complaining about a problem, put in a little time and make it better. Yeah, just do a little better, right?
And I'll say that anybody here that's here because of my promotion of this, support efforts like what John Duffy is doing here, Live Courageously, because it's real and it's local, and he's a guy that cares, and he's going to have people on here that hopefully care or will pretend to care.
Well, they better not pretend. You're going to be doing that wave in the face if they do that, man.
Yeah, knife hand.
Yes.
I appreciate that you're doing this. I know it's a tough road. I did not do 25 episodes on my own. I did maybe 5 or 6, and then I got yanked.
Well, once again, I'm lucky to know so many great people like yourself, and being able to share your story or stories like yours. I think, because at the end of the day, the reason I did it, Jeff, and probably the reason you did it too, I feel like if you touch one person, you're a success. If you help one person and got them to inspire them to be better or to do better, you won. You accomplished something, and you can feel good about it. If it's more than that, that's great. But as long as you touch one person and help them, that's one more than you would have if you didn't do it.
Because imagine if all of us did that.
I know.
One person,
concept,
all
right?
of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, find a way to do it. I was at an event yesterday, it's called Best You. And it's the same kind of thing. It's like, if you see people who help us, they park your car, they serve you food, giving somebody a smile, a thank you, just a recognition that, we all matter because we all need each other, we're all connected to each other. So, being able to willing to do that for somebody is a win-win. Anything you want to finish us out with? And once again, they can reach your podcast Tuesday on YouTube and everywhere else.
If they're around LA and if they're around LA and they want to be in our Legion family, you can go to, I'll give the short address, post43.org. So post43.org. And you can learn all about our post and see pictures of the pretty people we have in the post. They're all over that website. I'm not up there, by the way. I feel like they must think I'm ugly. So that's all I really, you covered it all. You're so organized.
Yeah, well, I got a lot to work on, and I'm gonna keep trying to make the show better, but it always gets better with great guests. I'm just a conduit for it. And if I have a great guest on, it gets easy because we have fun. And, having this conversation with you was fun for me because I both learn and I have fun, so I recommend everybody to learn from this, to learn the lessons, and because courage comes in all kinds of forms, small and big. And like you said at the beginning, Jeff, it isn't that you don't have fear. You have fear and you recognize fear, but you act in the face of fear and you move forward. And it can happen in big situations like being in a helicopter accident. Hopefully that never happens to you. Right. But even, health issues, you have a health issue like you did, and then taking one step and deciding to be the quarterback of your life and beginning to move it forward, or just giving a smile to somebody and helping somebody, donate some blood, do whatever it takes, volunteer, help clean up after an event, whatever it takes, just do something, instead of sitting around feeling bad about everything. Just get out there and do something and feel better.
There you go.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for being on here. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you again in person. And if anything I can do, just let me know. And we'll talk soon.
Perfect. Appreciate you, sir.
All right. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, you too.
And all right, everybody. That was a great show with Jeff Daly. I think there was a lot there. This is where you can reach me, my email, my YouTube show, if you want to watch it, if you want to share it with people, my Instagram account. Feel free to send me an email. Tell me what's good about the show, what I can do better. I'm always willing to learn and improve. And thank you for watching it. And thank you for being part of my audience every Sunday, 2 p.m. Live courageously and live your life courageously and find a way to volunteer and serve others. It'll lead to a better life for you. So once again, thank you to Jeff Daly, Commander of American Legion Post 43. Have a great day, everyone.